And welcome to Commissioner in a Car, though I am not in a car today. I am Dustin Zarni. I'm the Democratic Elections Commissioner for Onondaga County. And the reason I'm not in a car today is because today is the National Voter Registration Day and my day that I chose to do my general election preview and going over the important dates. So I didn't want to do this in the car because I needed my other screen here so I don't get any of the dates wrong, to be quite honest. So I'm not in the car today. Those of you who are audio don't really care because you never see me here anyways. But I'm here in my home office and I wanted to talk to you about National Voter Registration Day. Today is National Voter Registration Day. It's a kind of a newish holiday that has gone on for the last several years. They pick a day sometime in September, very close to my birthday, by the way. Very suspicious there. But National Voter Registration Day is a few weeks out from our voter registration deadline in New York, and it's a good reminder to not only register to vote if you have not registered to vote, but also to talk to your friends about registering to vote and check your registration. Often people have moved, or they have new information, or they want to change their party, or whatever, or maybe you just want to check your polling place. You can do all that at onvote.net. But today we're talking about the important dates for the general election. Next week, I'll do more of a races preview, which races are up here on the ballot. Today, I wanted to talk a lot about all the important dates for registration, for absentee balloting, for early voting, and of course for voting on election day. Because these dates sometimes get confusing, and there are deadlines almost every week now going up to November 8th, or at least every other week. And, important events happening when it comes to registering to vote, or voting by absentee, early voting, and of course election day voting. So let's get right into it. First, you can't vote if you're not registered, so we're going to talk about voter registration. National Voter Registration Day is today. So you can register to vote by going online at your MyDMV account if you have a New York State driver's license. If you do not have a New York State driver's license, then you cannot you cannot do that option, but you can still register to vote. You have to mail in or come into our office and fill out a form. Those are the ways that you can register to vote. While there are voter registration drives out there, I believe most of those forms definitely come back to the boards of elections on time. If you wanted to get that done right away, you should do it through your MyDMV or the Board of Elections website. And I see a couple people posting questions in the chat about other things. I'll get to that stuff at the end of the Commissioner Car. I'm going to get through all of these dates first before I move on to other topics. So the last day to register to vote is October 14th. That's either by mail, by postmark, DMV, or by dropping it off. Now, important thing about DMV is the mail for that is actually the next day. So if you do it online by MyDMV, it's really October 13th, not October 14th, because it has to be in our office on October. I'm sorry, it's not a receipt by, it's a mail by. So October 14th should work for the MyDMV account as well. October 19th is the last day to change your address. Now, let's say you've already registered to vote, but you wanted to change your address because you were at a different address somewhere in New York State. You have until October 19th to register or to change your address. Now, you can always change your address after that day by doing an affidavit ballot. But by changing your address by October 19th, it guarantees that you will be in the book on election day and be able to vote on the machine during early voting or on election day. So if you don't want to vote by affidavit and you've changed your address, do that by October 19th. So that's really it for registration. So the next thing that I wanted to cover was absentee ballot. Oh, you know what? There is one comment in the chat I want to talk about because it's relevant to registration. Judith says, "I hope you got my voter registration form in the mail. I now live here in Syracuse." That's great. Um, Now remember, we may have gotten that form, but it may not be updated yet because we're a couple weeks behind. Always a couple weeks behind on voter registrations because we get so many nowadays. But Judith, check onvote.net in the next week or so to make sure your voter registration has been updated. And if not, give a call down to our office. Usually give us 7 to 10 working days to get your voter registration in and process it. Again, we're thousands behind as we always are during this time period, but we will catch up. We will register everything that gets postmarked. And of course, Judith, because I know you lived in New York State, if for some reason we never got that voter registration, you could always go to vote by affidavit at the polling place and port your registration over from your home county to New York. That's a new law, well, not new since 2019, and it's an important law because it used to be that you had to be registered in the county. Now it's registered anywhere in New York State to get an affidavit ballot. So that's all I got about. That's all I got about registration. Now I'm going to move on to absentee balloting. This Friday, September 23rd, we will start to mail out absentee ballots. We're first going to mail out to military voters, and then shortly after that to the rest of the public. So if you have applied for an absentee ballot, it's important that you give us a call if you don't get that by, say, October 1st. Because if you've already applied, we will have mailed it to you and you should receive it by October 1st. Now, of course, we process these applications daily for absentee ballots. We have to get them out within 4 days of receiving the application, and usually it's the next day because we process all those applications and trying to get them out as quick as possible. So as you apply for absentee ballots, if you don't get one within the week, call us. Don't wait till the last minute because there's a lot of times we can't help you. Now, we put it in the mail. It may not get to you. We're not in charge of the post office. But call us within a week of applying if you have not received your absentee ballot, and we will make sure that we have the correct address, and also that we may need to send you another ballot. So don't wait till the last minute. If you don't get your absentee ballot within a week, give us a call, or your board of elections if you're watching outside of Onondaga County. October 23rd is the last day to apply by mail for absentee ballots. So if you're applying, I'm sorry, it's October 24th is the last day to apply by mail. It's the last day for us to receive those applications. So normally, if you put it in the mail on October 23rd, we might receive it on October 24th, but we have to receive anything by mail by October 24th, and this includes the online portal. You can apply for an absentee right online at onvote.net. It takes you to the state board website. But if we don't get that absentee by the 24th, we're not guaranteeing that we're going to be able to mail you out a ballot. Now, at Onondaga County Board of Elections, we try to mail them out as long as we have time. We try to mail them out. And we'll be mailing them out the Saturday before the election, but we can't guarantee you're going to get it and have enough time to return it back because on November 8th is the last day to postmark a ballot. That's election day, and then put it in the mail or drop it off at the Board of Elections. Now, if it's after October 24th, you can apply in person still up until November 7th. You'll just come down to our Board of Elections. Of course, early voting starts on October 29th, so if you're in the area, maybe you want to go early vote, but you may have people drop off applications for you or for a loved one that is infirmed, and then have somebody pick up that application. That's usually what happens in that time period. So that's November 7th is the last day. That's the Monday before Election Day, the last day to get an absentee ballot. So, so that's absentee ballots. Now, we have to receive them by November 15th if it's a regular absentee, or by November 21st if it's a military absentee. But they still have to be postmarked on November 8th. So it's important for you to know that. That yes, maybe you're traveling out of the country or something like that. You may be able to be postmarking it by November 8th, but if it doesn't get here by November 15th, then or November 21st for military voters, then we are not allowed to count it. So it's important for you to get it in as soon as possible. As soon as you get that absentee ballot, fill it out, mail it back. Oh, and by the way, postage is paid now on your absentee ballots. So you don't even have to go get a stamp. You just have to put it in your mailbox outside. Early voting I talked about a little bit earlier. Early voting starts October 29th. It runs till November 6th. We have 10 locations now in the city of Syracuse. I'm sorry, 10 locations in Onondaga County, 3 inside the city of Syracuse at Armand Magnarelli Center, Beecham Library, and Southwest Community Center. And then we have 7 in the suburbs, starting with Lafayette Fire Station number 1, DeWitt Town Hall, a new early voting location at the North Syracuse Community Center in North Syracuse, the Cicero area, Clay Town Hall, Lysander Town Hall, Camilla's Town Hall, which was not a early voting center during the primaries because of some programming issues. They are now coming back as a early voting center. And then, of course, OCC Mulroy Hall. Those are your locations around Onondaga County. We're open from 9 to 5 on the weekends, 10 to 6 on Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and noon to 8 on Tuesday and Wednesday for early voting. So those are the times and locations for early voting. Of course, early voting acts just like regular voting, except for we print your ballot on demand. No matter where you live in the county, you can go to any one of those sites, but you only can go once, and we do track it. Our poll books are updated, and we will not let somebody vote twice. So that's early voting. And of course, our old friend Election Day is still there. That's November 8th. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Election night reporting, early voting. On election night, once the polls close, we will report early voting and absentee ballots that were received before November 6th, along with eventually the election day reporting. So right at 9 o'clock, we'll have processed, and then we release the early vote and absentee vote. By the way, that's the first time I will see it as well. The totals are kept secret from the commissioners. It's kept secret from most of the staff. That we have a couple of people that are posting those things. They're in a room without cell phones and not allowed to share that information, and they only get it around 8 o'clock. So it's pretty tight kept secret. We cannot tabulate until 8 o'clock and start putting things together. So we won't even know those results, and we can't share them until 9 o'clock. It's in a room that no cell phones are allowed until that magic hour at 9 o'clock when voting is stopped, and we can vote out there. So and then of course the absentees that are received after November 7th on November 7th and after, and the affidavits that were received at early voting and election night stuff, they may not be totaled until November 21st, because again, we have until November 21st for military ballots to come in. So we might start totaling on November 15th after the regular ballots come in, but we won't have final totals and a certified election result until November 21st. Although since most of the ballots are being counted on election night, we won't have those weeks and weeks and weeks of not being able to declare winners on most of our races. There may be a few races that are close, but that's that. Now, after we certify the election, we may have to move to what's called a hand count. If any races are within 0.5%, we will move to a hand count and then do the totals for the hand count. We will hand count each and every ballot and make sure that those results match up with the election results. So that's if it's within 20 votes or 0.5%. If any of those two things happen, we will proceed to a hand count. So that usually will be done around the November 20th, right before Thanksgiving, and hopefully will be done by Thanksgiving and certified the election and moving on into the 2023 elections, because nothing ever stops here at the Board of Elections. So those are your important dates for elections. So there are some more questions in the chat, thanks to my good friend, David Harding. He has a couple questions. Do you have any comment on the investigation into the allegedly fraudulent Independence Party petitions to for the governor? Well, it's not for the governor. It's for the governor's race, but it was actually a petition submitted by Republican challenger Lee Zeldin, who was trying to get the independence line. And apparently, and allegedly, there were photocopied pages put into the petition, and to be able to get enough signatures to put them on the ballot. I don't know anything. I cannot talk about that case specifically, but I will say that there should be an investigation, because if there was an intent to deceive the State Board of Elections by having fraudulent petitions in there that are copied and not actual live signatures, that is a problem, and I hope that investigation goes forward. I don't have any really comment other than hoping that that investigation goes forward and we get answers to why that happened and why a campaign was so desperate to put these in there, why they would risk this type of investigation. David also asked, what is the time frame to get the New York State online registration portal system? It seems like it's been forever since it's passed. Yes, it has been. And it will go online next year. It is the pandemic slowed the implementation of automatic voter registration and online voter registration. Those were passed, during the pandemic, and the vendor has been chosen. They have they had an RFP for it at the State Board of Elections. Those are supposed to go online next year. I don't have any more information about it because, to be quite honest, it's not essential to this year, so I haven't dived into it, and State Board has not told us exactly how that's going to work. I assume that's going to be a major educational piece of the 2023 election cycle. And Dave, again, the Arizona GOP Secretary of State candidate Mark Fincham has said that it is a fantasy that Joe Biden won in Arizona or could win Arizona in 2024, in 2020 and 2024. He said he knew this because he can't find anyone who admits voting for Joe Biden. How worrying are these statements to you? Well, this of all the statements out there, that's actually the least worrying, because that kind of crapola has been going on since the beginning of time. I don't know anybody who would vote. Well, that's what's called an information bubble. When you insulate yourself with only people who think like you, then you can't imagine how the other side and who on the other side would vote. By the way, I know many of my friends didn't vote for Trump in 2016. Didn't mean that he didn't win the presidency. He did. He did get more votes than Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry, he did not get more votes than Hillary Clinton, but he got more votes in the states that mattered for the Electoral College to give him the presidency in 2016. That this kind of election denial is something that is become a cancer on our electoral system. It used to be that if somebody lost an election, they would concede and wish the other person luck, because we're all in this together. We're in this government together. We want this government to work. But now that has gone out the window, and it started going out the window early in the 2016 cycle, where the then candidate Trump, but President Trump was saying that he would not believe the election results. And yes, there were some small things on the left about Russian hacking, although most of us who were talking about Russian hacking still talked about social media hacking, not election voting equipment hacking. So it's bad, but it's really bad on the right now. They will never accept any results that doesn't result in them winning. and it doesn't matter. The facts don't matter, and that's problematic. Uh, and that and that goes to your next question, David. Same thing with about the former president recently repeating claims on his Truth Social platform that he's still the president and should be reinstated as president. Do you have any comment on that strange claim? That's strange. It's not something that he hasn't done before. He does it all the time. So he's playing into his followers' naivete and wishful thinking. He did not win the presidency and is not president. Joe Biden was sworn in. That's the end of that. He's the president. Now Trump may run again. And I hope people who think about voting for him think about what he's done to our country in terms of our electoral integrity. Because the January 6th insurrection that happened is a direct result and can be tied directly back to Donald J. Trump's rhetoric for 4 years and then immediately proceeding and on January 6th. So it's dangerous, and we need a better way of handling with this. And I'm looking forward to the January 6th hearings returning. I think September 28th at 1 p.m. They'll be having another hearing. And that's important because it's important to know how we got to where we are. And because we're not going to be able to fix it unless we know exactly how we got here and whether they'll be held accountable. So that's important. So that's really all I got for Commissioner in a Car or Commissioner in my studio today. This week, I'll be talking to Christina Cagnini, who's a Supreme Court Justice candidate. That'll be airing on Friday. I was going to have a discussion with James Monto, the new counselor, but some things got in the way there. He was the deciding vote for the Syracuse maps. That'll be an important discussion. We'll have that later on in the month. Tomorrow on my website, I'll be releasing my letter I sent to Democratic commissioners about my hope to be reelected as Democratic Elections Commissioner. I feel it's very important to be as transparent as possible about that, so check out that. And of course, my weekly walk this week will wrap up my look at the, it will not wrap up. It'll be looking at Election Day voting for the August 23rd primary as we're, taking a final look back at that. And then, so that'll be going. And right now, Monday is my 50th birthday. I'll be turning 50 on September 26th. And I'm using this week to promote on my social platforms the redistricting lawsuit against Onondaga County that I'm a part of, and that the Democratic Caucus of Legislators and several citizens are a part of, to try to overturn the partisan gerrymandered maps that we see. So I hope that we are up against it. The county has much more money than us. And they are going to an outside law firm to defend this and are going to try to bury us in motions and try to make us spend as much money possible before we even get this case heard. But I believe it is a strong case. I believe the Skoufis-Palin bill that was put forward, it gives us a lot of precedent to have a special master put in place to redraw the Onondaga County legislature maps in a fair and nonpartisan manner. That's what we're asking for, by the way. We're not asking for the Democratic maps to be put in place. We're asking for the special master to draw fair districts and have a real redistricting process before March of next year. And if you can look at those maps, and if you don't like the way they look, this is the only way to stop it, is this lawsuit. So I'm asking you to consider, I'm 50 on September 26th, so I'm asking people, if they have it, to donate $50 to that defense fund. If you don't have 50, donate any sum that you'd like to donate. And of course, sharing those posts will help others find it and donate it. I have a page dedicated on my website. If you go to dustinzarny.com, right on the front page, there's a link to the redistricting lawsuit. It has all of the paperwork in there. And I hope that you will consider giving a donation, consider sharing that around your social platforms in honor of my 50th birthday. I hope I make it there. But I'll be 50 on Monday, less than a week from today. Well, less than a week from today, but I'll be 50, and this has been a cause that I've dedicated the last 4 years of my life to bringing fair and equitable maps to Onondaga County, which we have not lived under for almost 20 years now. We've had, or 10 years, we've had 12 years, we've had horrible maps. Gerrymandering started in 2010. It was a mistake not to take that to court then. We're not making that mistake now. We've taken it to court, we filed it, but we still need help to bring in expert witnesses and finish this job and get a special master that will draw the correct maps that are best for our community. So consider giving to that. Thank you very much, and I will see you around. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.